Enigma Pro Wrestling proudly present PWEW. Fans, are you ready? Enigma Pro Wrestling. EPW. A night filled with fun. A night filled with excitement.
Hello, wrestling fans. This is Robert Schock from Enigma Pro Wrestling, and we are on today with Francisco Ciatso, the King of Florida. How are you today, Francisco?
Doing excellent, guys. How are you?
Having a great day here at Enigma Pro Wrestling. We just finished a fantastic first event for us, a charity event, and now I get to talk to you, which is another highlight for us. So thank you for making the time for us today.
Well, I really appreciate it. Thank you for having me, man. I heard about that the charity event, but I saw a lot of the pictures and spoke to the office a few days after the event had happened, and honestly, things really seem to be on point with Enigma Pro Wrestling, and personally, really looking forward to everything that they have to offer and bringing in a new brand to the state of Florida and independent wrestling. So really looking forward to everything.
Well, we're definitely excited to have you. I know that we posted you on our social media. That's Facebook at Enigma Pro Wrestling, and we had this fantastic image of you, just sort of like, hey, oh, kind of feel a little bling bling of New York. Is that character development? Is that you? What are we looking at?
Well, honestly, it's me with the knob, completely turned up to 100 and broken off. It's, I guess you could say I'm the stereotypical Ginzo from the Lower East Side, might as well call me Guido Salducci from the Lower East Side of Manhattan. I'm all about New York City. That's where my family's from. That's where I was born and bred. Of course, I reside in the state of Florida, which obviously I'm the King of Florida. And we'll get to where we came up with that name and how that came about later on. But yeah, I'm New York born and bred, brother.
I love it. A lot of listeners from the Northeast region. We get a heck of a lot of people from New York. So definitely a welcome addition to the roster to have a paisan, as they say, represented. And you've been wrestling everywhere. You wrestled not only just in Florida, which we'll talk about, the King of Florida, but, you wrestled in the Southeast region. You wrestled internationally. What is that all about? Are you wrestling with different federations? How long have you been in wrestling? Tell us a little bit.
I've been wrestling all in all about 13 or 14 years, off and on. I really got my start back in roughly 97, 98 with a group called IPW. Ron Nini used to run Tampa, pretty much the state of Florida. Back about 97 to about 2003, somewhere around there. Really got my start there. I trained with Exotic Adrian Street. He was my mentor and trainer over in Pensacola. Everybody remembers him from the 80s and late 70s, early 80s in the NWA. We kind of just took off after I got with Ron Nini's group. Went to England, China, Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic, TNA, WWE's Developmental in Deep South. Spent a little bit of time, just a little bit of time at the WCW Power Plant. So I've cut my teeth pretty much everywhere that you can just about cut your teeth at, with the exception of Japan. And that's one of the places, hopefully, here in the next few years, I'd really like to make my way over there.
Well, I'll tell you, that's kind of a historic past, and it seems like you've been in all the development places as well as being on the stage. What do you like about wrestling? What is it for you that attracts you to pro wrestling?
Yeah, absolutely. The fans are just absolutely at it. Is really the driving force behind what I do and why I do it. Honestly, no answer most people would understand, and no answer is really good enough. Because unless you do what we do, there's really no good answer, a great answer, a perfect answer. To be able to go out and be able to pop a crowd, be able to go out and make them cheer you, boo you, love you, hate you. That's what it's all about to me. It's about taking them out of the crowd and putting them in the ring and making them feel what I feel. One of my best analogies is a dad who takes his kid, to see a wrestling show. And, whether you're a good guy, bad guy, heel, babyface, whatever you want to call it, coming down that rampway and seeing that dad cheer for you, standing right next to his son. You don't know what that guy's life is like. You don't know if he's divorced from his wife. You don't know if he's going through the roughest time of his life. You don't know if he spent his last dollar, take his son to this wrestling show, have a little father-son bonding time. So, you name it. We have all walks of life that come out to these shows, but they spend their hard-earned money to see us do what we do. That's really why I do it. I remember when I saw my first wrestling show when I was 8 years old. I realized at that point, and I'll never forget the main event. It was Wahoo McDaniel versus Lex Luger for the Southern title at the Eddie Graham Sports Stadium in Orlando, Florida. And I'll never forget it. I remember at 8 years old, I was sitting in the third row, and I remember thinking to myself, that's what I want to do with the rest of my life.
That's amazing. That's when the spark hits you.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. I don't know if you want to call it a spark, an anvil dropped on my head. I don't know what you want to call it. Maybe I got shocked with electroshock therapy. I don't know, but whatever it was, that's when it hit me.
I have to ask you because it would seem that you would mainly wrestle as a hero, or do you wrestle as a bad guy? And does it really matter to you either way?
No, it really doesn't matter to me either way. I mean, regardless of what side of the fence I'm on, whatever you want to call it, I give the fans 110%. Whether you cheer me, boo me, whatever the case may be. At the end of the day, I'm here to entertain you, and I'm here to make you forget about your life, forget about your bills, forget about whatever the case may be, and suspend your belief for even a short moment, even if it's 10 minutes, 15 minutes, an hour. Johnny Valentine, one of the quotes that sticks in my mind, me and a friend of mine, I'm going to name drop here, Scotty Rings, were talking the other day. Johnny Valentine had a quote, and he said, "I can't make you believe that wrestling is real, but I can make you believe I am." And that quote has always rang true in my head for years and years and years. Because the one thing that I pride myself on is being the king of Florida, Francisco Ciatso, from the second I leave my house to the second I leave that building. Because in order to do and give the fans their money's worth, I have to do that, and I owe it to them.
That's great. So you have to explain the moniker. You have to give it to us. How did you arrive to the King of Florida? Was this a self-proclaimed thing? Is it? Give us some background. Come on, pull back the curtain.
Believe it or not, the fans actually came up with the moniker. I had won the King of the State tournament about 2 years ago. If I'm not mistaken, there was some of the top talent in the entire state. Off the wall, Sam Shaw, who just recently signed a contract with TNA, was in the tournament. Former NWA World Heavyweight Champion, Tokyo Monster Haggis was in the tournament. The marquee Bruce Santee was one of the best in the entire country. So you name it, they were in this tournament. I, of course, came out on top.
Wow.
So I was considered the King of the State. Okay, so for obvious reasons, I went over the best guys in the state. So that being said, I would just went about my business and so on and so forth. And from that second that I won that tournament, I skyrocketed, and I was everywhere in the state of Florida. Wrestled on every show. Didn't matter where it was a major show, I was on it. And I can't remember what the fan's name was or the full life of me, but I remember, and it was on Facebook, of course, like everything else is these days. And they said, "Man, you're like the King of Florida," and it just hit. And it stuck. And from that point on, I started getting, fans were making graphics with King of Florida, and it was crazy. It just kind of hit, and it stuck. And everyone's like, "Oh, well, you're from Brooklyn. How many be the King of Florida?" And so on and so forth. The fact of the matter is, if there's a show and it means something in the state of Florida, I'm on it. Whether it's vintage wrestling, whether it's Enigma, whatever the show is, if it's a major show and people are talking about it, I'm there.
I love it. Besides the fans, which obviously have mad love for you, I also noticed that you have a lot of respect from the wrestlers. I have to tell you that a lot of wrestlers that we talk to have got good respect for you. Is that a two-way street, or is that just something that you've earned your stripes over the years?
Well, I really believe that respect is definitely earned. It's not given. And it's when I show up to a show, regardless of who you are, whether you're setting up the ring, whether you're ring announcing, whether you're wrestling, whether you're a green boy setting up chairs, whether you're selling hot dogs at the concession stand, it makes no difference to me. I walk in and make sure to shake everybody's hand. I treat everybody equal. Because it doesn't matter where you're at on the card. It doesn't matter if you're opening match. Again, it doesn't matter if you're ring announcing. It doesn't matter if you set the ring up. It doesn't matter if you sweep up after. Everybody's part of the show. There was a time, we'll go off on a little tangent. My first WWE shot when I was in Deep South, we were in Mobile, Alabama. I can't remember if it was Raw or SmackDown. It had to be Raw because it was the first one. That was Monday night. Right. I was sitting atop the arena, and it was empty. I got there maybe about 10 o'clock in the morning. We had to be at TV till 12. So, and I remember watching the entire arena get set up from beginning to end, whether it was the ring, chair, everything gets set up. And I realized at that point that the wrestlers, myself included, were the smallest part of the entire production. We were the smallest part of the entire show. And at that point, it was humbling because, like everybody in this business, you have an ego. And that was a really humbling experience because there's guys that are setting up light trusses. There's guys that are risking their lives setting up those things. People don't see those guys. You don't see them on Raw. But they're there. The guys that are setting up the ring are making sure that we don't die in that ring doing what we do. So those, in my opinion, are the real stars of the show, because if it's not for them, there is no us. If there isn't guys setting up the ring, if there isn't guys selling concessions, a lot of times we don't get guys on the independent side, we don't get paid. And I went, kind of off on a tangent, but respect is earned. And I make sure to go in and shake everybody's hand and treat everybody equal, no matter where you're at. So
that's a great attitude. Just a great attitude. Now I know why people say such great things about you. And we're very excited to see you, at our next event. And I know that you just recently been added to the roster. Not being at one of our events, but you're seeing some of the photographs, you're seeing some of the stuff that's going on social media. What does your gut tell you about Enigma Pro Wrestling? What's your thoughts?
Well, my initial gut reaction is that you guys have it on point. Well, I should say you guys, we have it on point. I am part of Enigma's roster now and part of the company. So, we are on point. From the second I spoke to Darian, and honestly, the initial reaction I had was, wow, he's intelligent, which is kind of unheard of these days in independent wrestling. It's, you get a lot of dummies, for lack of a better term, and Darian's anything but that. He's a smart man, and you can tell he's business oriented, and he's got his stuff together, and just Enigma as a whole. I mean, marketing departments, and for instance, this, podcast, and you were right on time. I mean, I looked at as you were calling, I looked at the time, and I'm like, oh my God, it's 8:00. When I answered the phone, I was like, wow, these guys are on point. And it's all little things. The entrance ways. I mean, everything. The cameras that he has, and just all of it. It's it's way ahead of its time for a promotion that's this new. To have merchandise out and to have the media, the social media on lock with this promotion is this early on is unheard of. So my initial gut reaction is that everything's on point. Is it perfect? No, there's no such thing. I mean, hell, WWE is not perfect. TNA's not perfect. But Enigma has got what it takes to really flourish. And I don't really say just in the state of Florida. I think it's got potential, to be a heavy hitter, independent-wise, throughout the country.
Well, I'll tell you, we take a lot of insight from wrestlers just like you. We're really focused in on the fan experience. We really want the fans to be involved, and just from the initial reactions that we're getting out, just with your photograph alone. All right. It was just, we got an overwhelming response, and we're really excited to have you as part of this company. And I just want to say thank you for taking the time with us today to spend some of this time away from your family and share some of your thoughts and about wrestling and where you come from. And we're really looking forward to seeing just a whole lot more of you, Francisco.
Well, I really appreciate it, man. Thank you very much for having me, and appreciate Enigma Pro Wrestling for believing in me enough to be part of the roster. And it's truly an honor, to be part of this from the ground floor. So definitely look forward to speaking with you guys in the future, and hope you guys have a great weekend.
Hey, stay strong, huh?
Hey, you guys have a good weekend. All right.
All right. Thank you,
guys take care. Thank you, brother. Bye.